My name is Nasir ***, and this is an unforgettable incident from my student days. I am now working as a project manager in a good firm. I belong to a small village near Mirpur Khas. Through hard work and day and night studying, I gained admission to Marin University on a merit basis. My father wanted me to look after our small piece of land with him. I had 2 younger sisters at home. But when I passed my intermediate with excellent marks, my father was the happiest, and he himself gave me permission to study further. My father happily paid for my university admission and hostel expenses. I left my village, my home, and my only close friend Bilal and came to Hyderabad. After my family, if anyone was truly happy for me, it was Bilal. He couldn't continue his studies after matriculation because of his father's death. Bilal ran his father's grocery shop very well. Our friendship was very strong. Our village was a little further inside from the bus stop. Uneven footpaths surrounded by bushes led to our village. A new person would be frightened seeing this deserted path, but this was our area. We had been coming here since childhood. So for us, whether it was day or night, it didn't matter. But sometimes, incidents would happen with people passing by at night, and then they would become the talk of the village for days. Like when we were in the 7th grade, we heard that a headless ghost roams here. Only one person had seen it, but 4 to 6 people would narrate this incident as if it had happened to them. Then for some time, these things were discussed a lot. Then they stopped. We never believed in these things. Yes, something did happen a year ago. Bilal's sister had come back to her parents' home after fighting with her husband Salim because of his stinginess. Bilal and I resolved the matter with great difficulty through conversation, and it was decided that Salim would come the next evening to take his wife. But he didn't come the next day. As soon as the sun rose, we both went to his village. There, his family told us that he had left the previous night, saying he was going to get his wife, and would stay there overnight. We rushed back to our village. He hadn't come home either. When this news spread in the village, everyone went out to search. A boy named Samir told us that he had returned from the city late at night. When he got off at the stop, he saw Salim getting off a rickshaw. He was arguing with the rickshaw driver over money. We ran toward the path leading out of the village. He was found unconscious in the bushes on that same footpath. He was brought home. Even after regaining consciousness, he didn't recognize anyone. With great difficulty, his condition stabilized. The entire village gathered. What he told us spread fear throughout the village. He said that he had a quarrel with the rickshaw driver over money. He told him to drop him at the stop. He thought he would walk from there. He had also seen Samir getting off the bus. After arguing with the rickshaw driver when he turned around, Samir had already left. The night wasn't very deep yet. It would become silent here. He was walking fast on this footpath when someone called him by name from behind. He turned around in surprise. There was no one there, just bushes and the faint rustling of their movement. He comforted himself that it was probably an illusion and started walking faster. He had only taken a few steps when the same voice came again. This time, it was closer. "Hey, listen." He was about to run when this thing came out from behind the bushes. He pointed toward Samir and we were all startled. Samir was looking at him in surprise. Salim said that Samir had called out to him, saying, "Wait, I'm coming too." So he stopped. He came close to him and they started walking together. He was talking about this and that while Samir was silent. While walking, he left the footpath and started going toward the bushes. Salim asked, "Why are you going this way?" Samir said, "Come this way. This path is much better and shorter." He went toward the bushes and Salim, without thinking, followed him. They started walking inside the bushes. Now Salim was bothered by Samir's silence, and the place also seemed strange. When he looked ahead at Samir, he felt that Samir's height had increased. At first he doubted himself, but upon closer inspection, his doubt turned into certainty. Samir was growing taller and taller as he walked forward. He turned around in fear and ran, but he got tangled in the bushes and fell. Someone grabbed him by the foot and dragged him backward from behind. He was dragged far away. He was badly injured. He kept screaming. Some unseen creature was beating him. Strange sounds echoed in his ears. His luck was good. When he felt death very close, he stopped screaming and started reciting Quranic verses. After that, he only remembers that someone picked him up and threw him far away. After that, he had no consciousness. Hearing this, the entire village fell into silence. It was clear that it wasn't Samir. Everyone started saying that it must be the shadow of some jinn, because the footpath had a strange reputation before as well. After this incident, Salim never came to the village again. The same happened with this incident. It was discussed a lot, and then some truth and some lies continued to be heard. For a few days, everyone was affected by this incident, including me and Bilal. But then we stopped paying attention. People stopped going on that path at night, so it became even more deserted. Now everyone took the longer route, which still had some activity. Then I came back to the hostel. I would visit home every 2 or 3 months. I would call Bilal and he would come to pick me up from the stop on his motorcycle. The bus would drop me off at 9 p.m. and then we would go to the village via this newly built road. Sometimes we would take the shortcut on the footpath, speeding on the bike. Until then, nothing had happened to us. Bilal would call out, "Hey, recite Ayatul Kursi, I'll speed up." My first year was completed. I hadn't been able to go home for the last 4 months. This time when I decided to go home, I called Bilal. "Come at 9 p.m. tomorrow night." He was also happy to hear that I was coming. On the day I was to travel, some issue came up at the hostel, causing commotion, and I couldn't charge my phone. During the journey, my phone died. I wasn't worried. I knew Bilal would be waiting at the stop when I got off. At exactly 9 p.m., the bus dropped me off at the stop. I got off with my luggage, but Bilal was nowhere to be seen. Now I was standing alone at the stop looking for him. My phone was dead. I wasn't worried. I knew Bilal would definitely come. About 10 to 15 minutes later, I saw Bilal standing some distance away. I was surprised. First, he didn't have his motorcycle. Second, he usually would come forward immediately and hug me, taking the luggage from my hands. At that moment, he was standing at a distance, just gesturing with his hand for me to come. Naively, I walked toward him. When I got close and was about to hug him, he suddenly turned around and started walking ahead. Now I was sure he was angry with me. I picked up my luggage and ran after him. "What happened, Yar? Are you angry?" In response to this, he only said, "No." I kept following him. "Then why aren't you talking?" I asked in confusion. "I am talking, hurry up, we're getting late." "Where's your bike?" In response, he only said, "It's broken, hurry up." He said this and started walking faster. I was behind him with my luggage. I noticed he was leading me toward the footpath. I was startled. "Bilal, why are you taking this path? Why not the main road?" He turned his head and looked at me but didn't answer, just smiled faintly. But that smile was strange. He turned his neck back and walked ahead. I felt such fear that a cold wave ran down my spine. Now I was observing carefully. He had wrapped a black sheet around himself. He usually wore gray or brown sheets. I had seen him in a black sheet for the first time. Now I started feeling uneasy. I slowed down my steps. I gathered courage and said, "Bilal, stop for a moment." He stopped immediately. He turned around slowly. In the darkness, his face wasn't clearly visible. He said in a heavy voice, "Walk, Nasir. The night is getting late." My throat started drying up. I gathered courage and turned around to look behind me. The stop was still some distance away. Bushes and the deserted path were all around me. I thought, if this is Bilal, why does he seem so changed? And if this isn't Bilal, then who is it? Suddenly I heard a voice from behind me. "Nasir, hey Nasir, where are you going?" It was Bilal's voice. I turned around in shock. Bilal was standing near the stop with his bike, looking at me in surprise. I looked ahead of me. The Bilal walking in front of me had stopped. "Come on, Nasir," he said in an almost irritated tone. My feet seemed stuck to the ground. I couldn't move. From the other side, Bilal kept calling me, got on his bike and rode toward me. I looked ahead with wide eyes, then behind me. Suddenly, the Bilal standing ahead of me changed his appearance and bent down, blowing near my ear. After that, I don't remember anything. When I opened my eyes, I was at home. My mother, father, and Bilal were all sitting around me, worried. I looked at Bilal and felt fear at first, but my father recited some prayers over me. I felt a dull pain in my ear. Bilal told me that as he was leaving the village, his bike had a puncture. My phone was also off. He stopped to get the puncture fixed. From there, a man carrying some luggage was passing by. He was wearing a black sheet and heading toward the stop road. Bilal stopped him and said, "If you pass by the stop, my friend will be there. Tell him I'm coming." The man nodded and left. Bilal had also found that man strange. He took a long time there. He sped to the stop on his bike, but it was empty and deserted. He stopped his bike and started looking for me, and then he spotted me. I was walking toward the footpath with my luggage. He was surprised why I was going there at this time. He called out to me, but seeing my strange behavior, he got startled and rushed to me on his bike. By then, I had fallen unconscious. Thank God someone was passing by. With that person's help, he managed to bring me home. I told them the whole story. Hearing all this, Bilal's condition changed. He sat down. My father immediately gave him water, and then what he told us made our hair stand on end. Bilal said that when I fell unconscious, the man in the black sheet arrived. It was with his help that Bilal managed to put me on the bike. That man came all the way to our house with Bilal. He banged on the door. My father opened it. Bilal told him to wait outside and brought me inside with my father's help. Then they were busy trying to revive me. When Bilal remembered that man and went to look outside, he had already left. Hearing Bilal's account, my father said that there was no one with Bilal. He had brought me alone. What was this riddle? It was beyond our understanding. Whatever it was, we were very scared. That night, even Bilal didn't go home. Until morning, both of us were burning with fever. My father had prayers recited over us for 3 days. But even today, that incident has a great effect on us. This incident that happened with us was very dangerous. Bilal and I, who used to think of these things as people's false and true stories, now understood when it happened to us. My father was a practical man. He didn't believe in ghosts or jinn, but he knew there were things beyond our understanding. He took us to a religious scholar the next day. The scholar listened to our story and said, "What you encountered was not human. It was something that takes the shape of a familiar person to lure you into danger. The fact that you both survived is a blessing, but you must be careful." He gave us some prayers to recite and told us never to walk on that footpath alone at night again. We followed his advice. Bilal and I made a pact. We would always travel together, never alone, especially at night. And we would always recite the protective verses before any journey. Weeks passed. The fear slowly faded, but it never fully left. I returned to my university and continued my studies. Bilal went back to his shop. We talked about that night only a few times and always in hushed voices. It was as if speaking about it too loudly would summon something. I never took that footpath again, even in daylight. I always took the longer road, even when I was in a hurry. The memory of that night, the black sheet, the strange smile, the voice that was Bilal's but not Bilal's stayed with me. Years later, I heard from someone in the village that the footpath had been closed. The government had built a proper road through the other side, and the old path was now overgrown with bushes and thorns. No one used it anymore. Some said it was because of the road construction. Others said it was because of the stories. But I knew the real reason. People don't walk on paths where they've seen death. And I had seen something that night, something that had looked like my best friend but wasn't. Something that had wanted to take me into the bushes and never let me go. If it hadn't been for the real Bilal arriving when he did, I would have followed that thing into the darkness. I would have become another story, another legend told around the village fires. Another, what happened to that boy on the footpath? I am grateful to God for saving me. I am grateful to Bilal for coming when he did. And I am grateful to the stranger in the black sheet, whoever or whatever he was, for helping bring me home. Sometimes I wonder, was he the same one who had tried to take me, or was he something else, something that had helped me escape, or had he saved me for another purpose another time? I will never know. What I do know is this: the world is not as simple as we think. There are things that walk among us, wearing familiar faces, speaking with familiar voices. They wait for moments of weakness, for times when we are alone, when our guard is down. They call our names, and if we answer, they lead us into the dark. I am sharing this story so that others might be warned. If you ever find yourself on a deserted road at night and someone you know seems to be walking ahead of you, but they are different somehow, do not follow them. Call out. Wait. And if you see another version of that person behind you, do not turn around. Some paths are not meant to be taken. Some voices are not meant to be answered. And some friends are not really friends at all. I never told my mother the full story. She was already worried enough, but my father knew. He looked at me differently after that night, not with pity but with understanding. He had seen things too in his youth. He knew the signs. He told me once, "Son, there are paths in this world that belong to us and paths that belong to others. We must learn to stay on our side." I have followed that advice ever since. Bilal and I are still friends, though we live in different cities now. We call each other sometimes. We never mention that night, but I know he remembers. I can hear it in his voice when we say goodbye, when he says, "Take care, Nasir, don't walk alone at night." I always say, "I won't, you too." And I never do. That night taught me the hardest lesson of my life. Some things are not meant to be known. Some paths are not meant to be walked. And some people, even those you trust the most, can be taken away and replaced by something that looks like them but is not. So be careful, friends. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And if you ever find yourself on a deserted road at night and someone you know calls your name from the darkness, just keep walking. Do not look back. Do not answer. Do not stop. Because the one calling you may not be the one you think.